my blender. I want you to hear the elements of monitoring that are underway inside of my apartment. So you'll see the pictures that I took moments earlier, and the entity was engaging in, this is demonic. It has nothing to do with the natural environment. You know that from the light activity, you know that from the presence of the light source for 11 hours, for 11 plus hours, and from the stalking conduct and the demonic behavior of both the people of the state and the entity that's stalking in a helicopter, that are demons that are affiliated with the LAPD while I'm in Los Angeles. So this is capturing the specific environment. It is currently 7:27 a.m. You're gonna look at the timestamp, but let me be clear, there is no sunrise in the natural environment. This is the specific environment where the presence of the light source remains for the duration of the day, and it remains directly over me everywhere that I move for the duration of the day. And as I remain at one address, Alvarado Gardens, 1800 to 1818 North Alvarado Street, that is witnessing the specific environment and the demonic. You're looking at engineer light, which is nowhere near at the same time where I am documenting my presence in Ontario, California, at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the light source is hovering. That is rising at 7:15 in the morning. I'm there at 7:04 in the morning. You will see me sleeping inside of a vehicle, and you are going to see the light source, which is hovering through the window, the passenger side of that window, while I'm sleeping in a car located at 630 North Fern Avenue, a facilitating venue, providing what I want to be clear. Everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. That is the systematic engagement in the pattern of conduct, while the targeted individual is without a permanent place of residence, and they are subject to the same criminal pattern of conduct. The people of the state that are living in relevant position, placing an American citizen under surveillance. And how is that occurring? Exactly the way that I documented. The light source is hovering through a passenger side of the vehicle that I'm sleeping inside of at 7:04 a.m. in the same manner that you're looking at it and aiming as though this is sunlight. It's not. It's also not sunlight that's appearing, you remember, on my ceilings, when I'm opening my front door, when I'm in the kitchen and light is traveling in this direction, when you're looking at it on my ceiling in my bedroom, and the pattern of the blinds, and none of this is sunlight, nor is this the sun that would be present at the same time. That is captured, I want to be clear, 630 North Fern. The people of the state, as I documented, for a term of years. The people of the state, they're going to federal prison, all right? That is the people of the state that are engaged in criminal presence wherever the targeted individual is at. 630 North Fern is just, I want to be clear, that's at Fern Avenue and G Street in Ontario, where the entity is group stalking by airplanes, commercial airline planes, who are engaged in the perpetual maintenance of presence that is hovering over that neighborhood in relevant position as though they are taking off while the airport is far from that location. This is what the entity was doing at no matter where I went in Ontario, and the entity's false premise is that, because there's an airport in that city, that they can appear to be taking off everywhere that you're at. The entity was following from place to place and remaining where it was that I remained, under the light source and indirected light. And also the Ontario airport is a facilitating venue where I've also documented the maintenance of that light source over my head while I'm on what is public transportation, that is Omnitrans, Route 61. The entity is engaged in the pattern of conduct as I'm documenting it. It's currently 7:30 in the morning, and I will upload those videos where you can see the light source while I'm sleeping in a vehicle at 7:04 in the morning. And that light source remains over me and that's where the entity is rising the sun, okay? And then you're looking at what is supposed to be rising the sun. This is the ongoing analysis that you're capturing on a day-to-day basis. And then you're also gonna remember what the entity was doing yesterday as I'm capturing after 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and then you have what is rising the light source. That's not the sun. So this is understanding that natural environment, and this is that in the presence. Let me be clear. Constructive presence by the state through this engineer light. The ongoing communication of a threat, the ongoing documentation of what is state terrorism, while an entity is placing you under surveillance, and this is occurring in the United States. What's occurring in the United States is not only criminal surveillance in violation of constitutional and human rights outside of any warrant or probable cause, but it is also with regard to terrorism because the government is practicing what is satanic and demonic. This is ritualistic methods of stalking, and they're also engaged in Title 18 criminal activity in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. All of the people of the state that are living in relevant position while this light source, let me be clear, I'm going to give you a detail. You see this engineer light that's appearing on the roof of this facilitating venue? It is the identification of the people of the state, one who has no warrant or probable cause, while they are in the shoes of the government, maintaining criminal presence in the path where that state system of surveillance is underway. There is no light. This is how the analysis goes. This is how the analysis goes. There is no sunlight. It is a scientific impossibility that any sunlight would be on this house. If that was the actual sun, as I'm capturing it at 7:04 a.m., hovering over my head at 630 North Fern Avenue in Ontario, California. That is capturing the specific environment. In addition, you also know that this isn't sunlight and that that's a demon that is engaged in group stalking where they live, where the people of the state live, criminal presence in the path, and also criminal monitoring. They're also engaged in terrorism because everything that they are doing is facilitating that criminal system while outwardly conducting themselves as though it's normal society. This is what the secret society is engaging in with the entity that's stalking day and night in helicopter. That's why they're going to federal prison. That's why they get subject to those federal prosecutions. That is how you are understanding the demon possessed also. This is entirely targeting conduct, and you know it by the presence of the engineer light that is not at 630 North Fern, and also here in Los Angeles, hovering, by the way, where they are underneath what is a light source that's present for 11 hours in the day. I want to be clear, after 5 p.m., the entity is still present with engineer light all over their properties. That's the prosecution of the people of the state. And they are monitoring, they're engaging in a sex offense while this engineer light is in it. All right, there is no warrant or probable cause to maintain criminal presence and engage in that criminal system in concert with the state. And that's what they are doing while the entity is engaging in a demonic imitation of the natural environment. The presence of engineer light, the criminal presence of maintenance in the path, which is what you are doing when you are living and traveling in relevant position, on foot, through vehicle, by plane, and helicopter. That's the state system of surveillance, and it's demonic. All right, I want to be clear, that's prosecution for state terrorism while in the United States the government is serving Satan, and you're witnessing demon possession. Demon possession is not exhibited through some person that you would label weird because they have on a green wig or because they're walking around in attire that you would see that they look disassembled. Maybe they're speaking gibberish. These are the things that you equate with demon possession, and it's not. It's occurring in the specific environment where you're looking at what is movement in engineered light, criminal presence in engineered light, and you're also looking at what is obsessive maintenance of presence. You're looking at that same obsession while people are living in houses in relevant position under a light source that's present for 11 hours in concert with the state that's stalking and engaging in surveillance by helicopter, by the way. Also engaged in systematic maintenance of the environment using sirens. Those are demons, just like you saw the Upland Fire Department crossing path, as I remind you of the light source that's not over anywhere near the hillside. And let me be clear, at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, there is no sun that's going to be over the Upland Public Library and over the parking lot of the Upland Public Library at any point. It remains here for the duration of the day. And you saw the Upland Fire Department demonstrate their demon possession while they're in a fire truck crossing path while the light source is over my head, which is not going to be anywhere near Alvarado Gardens, near the hillside of facing Alvarado Gardens, nor is it going to be setting in alignment to my apartment. Remember, it's not just at Alvarado Gardens, in alignment to Alvarado Gardens, it's in alignment to me at Alvarado Gardens for the duration of the day, both rising and setting. That is a massive prosecution for the people of the state. It's also a prosecution for understanding not just criminal surveillance, but a sex offense committed by a government, which shall be recognized under federal law. This is also understanding and recognizing what is state terrorism. And in the same way that we would not negotiate with any terrorist that comes to this country or plans or conspires to drop bombs against any American citizen here, threatening the lives of American citizens, taking the lives, the government itself, which is a domestic enemy, acting in concert with the people of the state, these are domestic enemies. There will be no negotiations with them. All right, it is an intolerable level of criminal facilitation, and it will be met, again, with that malice and that threat that is posed with a commensurate enforcement under federal law, that justice requires it. All right, and this demon possession that is demonstrated by a government, people in law enforcement, and the people of the state that are engaged in this criminal system, which is no longer a secret, and demonstrating ongoing impunity. I want to be clear, this is the stubbornness of the demon possessed. None of this is naturally occurring, and they're all in real time listening to their exposure. And you know that through the ongoing active light activity, the documentation that you've already seen, which is in conformity, by the way, to the pattern of conduct. Not only have I captured the impossible light activity, which is prefacing criminal presence by the state, in concert with the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government, you've seen in real time what are the demon possessed who engage in real time reactions to what they're listening to me say. So for example, when you're looking at the engineer light that is dynamic in my bedroom, while I'm talking about the impossible light activity that you saw inside of Stater Brothers, where the sun is documented in the morning, by the way, which is not going to be anywhere near the hillside, where the sun is present, by the way, and that's the light source, at that Stater Brothers at San Antonio and Holt Boulevard in Ontario, where at no time is it going to be rising here at the hillside and remaining till the end of the day. But you've seen that engineer light above the demon possessed, the people of the state inside of that grocery store. You've seen the engineer light inside of Starbucks at that same intersection, 706 West Holt Boulevard, where the sun, by the way, is rising as a matter of documentation, 7:48 in the morning. There is no sun that's going to be rising here at the hillside and remaining for the duration of the day. I've also documented the engineered light inside of Starbucks, a third-party facilitating venue exhibiting demon possession while they are acting with the people of the state who come into that venue and travel and remain at that venue to engage in the state system in concert with that corrupt law enforcement agency, Montclair Police, And Ontario police, as I've documented Starbucks at more than one venue, and you have the identical pattern of conduct. Okay, that's beyond a coincidence. This is documentation of what is impunity. It's relevant to what is malice. It's directly relevant to the people of the state who live at Alvarado Gardens and who live at 630 North Fern, where you are providing an unlawful and intolerable level of criminal assistance. I want to be clear. At 630 North Fern, when I was sleeping outside in a vehicle, the Ontario Police Department routinely flying over that vehicle, flying all around that vehicle on a nightly basis, engaging in what is ongoing terrorism in that specific environment that remained day and night. That's exactly what the entity is engaging in Los Angeles, doing so in concert with the people of the state who are surrounded evidence that coats all over their property. It is under no circumstances sunlight. It's not sunlight that appears on my walls and on my ceilings, and this is not sunlight that's touching all over their property. The prosecution of the people of the state for what is criminal surveillance, state terrorism, as they are identified as a domestic enemy, and they're going to be severely prosecuted for maintaining that role and doing so with impunity, because that's exactly what this environment is illustrating. All right, to be prosecuted as sex offenders, to be prosecuted as what is state terrorism. I also want to be clear, existing federal policy with regard to RICO charges. Okay, my documentation is serving for what is an aspect of that, and that is the criminal surveillance that the state of California is engaging in. It is currently 7:38 a.m. I will upload video documentation so that you can see where the entity is rising the sun over me while I'm sleeping in a car. There is also a body of evidence where I was sleeping at the Ontario Museum at 225 South Euclid Avenue, where the entity is stalking in helicopter day and night, and also by commercial airline planes under a light source that remained over me at whatever hour, including the so-called rising sun, but even as I remained 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, returning at 3:30 in the afternoon, present at 5 and 7 in the evening, and the light source remains there at that museum, as though, again, the documentation showing that the entity was then setting a light source at the same exact address. That's capturing the demonic. Okay, that's capturing what is the body of evidence for what is criminal surveillance, and the demon-possessed are placing American citizens under surveillance, and they're doing it in concert with a corrupt government. That is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is currently 7:38 a.m. and this is P.O.C.